All right, it is 3 past. Probably a good time to go ahead and get started. So I would like to introduce myself. I'm Greg Robinson. I'm your host today, and we'd love to welcome you to our session we titled The Future of Telecom Services. We know this is a growth area for many of you. You're expanding your offerings into telecommunications. You're either getting into it new or you've been doing it a while. But in any case, you need to really optimize your opportunity here, and you're going to need an integrated solution for managed IT and voice to do this properly. Our presentation today will talk about a complementary team of solutions that are really designed to help you do the job better, faster, less expensive, and obviously more profitable. During the session today, we will have 3 presenters. You will get a pop-up at the end of each one. Please feel free to select your option there. And of course, any questions, please type them in the chat box as we go. Our hosts today, or our guest speakers today, will be Mark Lovies, Ken Davis, and Donna Renee. So at this point, we're going to present each of those products. We're going to start with Datagate, go into Cognition, and then go into Advantage IVR. And they all really work together to create a complementary solution. So let's start with Mark Lovies. He is the CEO of Datagate, and they provide an automated tax-compliant SaaS solution for billing for MSPs. It's integrated to ConnectWise. It also works with a number of tax engines and a number of the popular accounting systems. With that, Mark, let me hand it over to you.
Thank you, Greg. So selling telecom is a massive opportunity for managed service providers with very profitable recurring revenue. And all over the world, we're seeing MSPs winning in this space through their existing client bases. So we at Datagate, along with our industry partners, are committed to helping managed service providers be successful and profitable at selling telecom services. And billing telecom requires specialized software, especially in the United States, where you've got complex tax and compliance requirements. So Datagate's objective is to remove all these obstacles and complexities, make it easy, quick, and inexpensive to produce professional telecom invoices and to integrate it with the software that MSPs use. So with Datagate, we set out to work with any wholesale provider. We support all the standard file formats and API connections so that we can work with any white label provider that a MSP wants to work with. We also connect to all the popular PBXs, switches to get the call detail records we need for the tax calculations and for rating. We also support all the common pricing plans that are used in the telecom industry, everything from fixed price plans through to bundling, through to cap plans with overage charges, etc. So if you see the big telcos doing a pricing plan, like AT&T, for example, we can do all the same kinds of plans for our MSP partners. So really enabling MSPs to compete head on with the larger providers. Our solution is integrated with the software that MSPs like to use, most notably ConnectWise Manage is very popular with MSPs. We also integrate with Cognition 360, Connect Booster, QuickBooks, Xero, and that's our strategy going forward is always to work from the perspective of the MSP and what's important to the MSP to minimize the rekeying and sort of maximize efficiency and profitability in the back office for producing invoices. And we aim to really simplify the problem of telecom taxes. So we work with some of the top tax engines in the US to really take care of the processing of taxes together with our tax and compliance partners. So we take away that problem, make it easy, and make sure that you're safe and compliant with the taxes that are applicable to the clients that you're working with and the services you're providing. So in talking about Datagate, we like to talk in context of the partners that we work with and the other solutions that we work with. So this is what we call our 30,000-foot view of how Datagate operates in your infrastructure. So Datagate here is a telecom billing engine. We call it an engine because it's running all the time. It's collecting call data. So it collects the call data from either from your upstream wholesale providers or from your telecom PBX. Or maybe even a combination of both. So we can actually connect from multiple sources, and we collect that call detail record data throughout the month, and we validate it as we receive it. So we make sure there's no errors, we make sure there's a pricing plan that covers the call, we make sure that the call is made at the right time, following, when the service was provisioned and before it's been terminated. We also make sure that we even recognize the DID, that it belongs to one of the MSP's customers. So that's all going on throughout the month in the background, processing away. So when it comes time to actually generate the bills, we make it so that there's only a few mouse clicks to get this process started. Datagate will apply all the pricing plans that have been configured for all the various customers. They can all have different plans and different deals done with them. And as we generate each invoice, we pass it over to the Telecom tax engine. And so we support CCH Sure tax engine, as well as Avalara and compliance solutions. So we have 3 excellent Telecom tax engines we work with. So they will add the applicable taxes based on the zip code of the customer and where the services are provided. And then they'll pass that invoice back to us via the API. And this all happens instantaneously. So from the MSP's point of view, it just happens straight away. All those taxes and surcharges get added. And what's more, this data is now available for your tax compliance partner, so they can automatically file your tax returns for you. And many of our partners actually have integration with the tax engine themselves, so they can get that data automatically and file the returns automatically. So that takes all of that hassle away from you. So once you've got all the invoices back to Datagate, you can then view them. If you see anything you want to change, the MSP can actually make changes to the underlying data and reprocess the invoices. And then at that point, the MSP can then send the invoices out to the customers via email as a PDF attachment. The PDF invoice will be made to your requirements of the MSP, so that it can have different types of formatting, branding, etc. And we really aim to have professional looking telecom invoices going out that also meet all the requirements of the tax jurisdictions as well. So once the invoices are sent, you can then send them all into ConnectWise Manage. And once those invoices are there, they go in as a miscellaneous invoice, and they become visible to all the staff that are using ConnectWise Manage, and also all the software that's plugged into ConnectWise Manage. So that's a powerful thing. It means that software like Cognition 360, Connect Booster, whatever else you're using is going to see those invoices and be able to do what they do with that data. And what's more, those invoices then can be passed through to your accounting system, which might be QuickBooks or Xero or any other system that you plug into ConnectWise Manage, and it will follow the same path as all your ConnectWise generated invoices. So this is something that's very, very popular with MSPs, because MSPs like to work the ConnectWise way, and we also work the ConnectWise way and enable the same processes to be followed. Then, of course, there's a number of different options for payment processing, for receiving payments from your customers, and we have partners like Connect Booster. We also have a portal ourselves that can show Datagate invoices, and we work with numerous payment provider partners there. So there's options, as well as some popular portals like the QuickBooks online portal. So really what we're aiming to do at Datagate is work really tightly with partner solutions that the MSP might be using or might prefer to use. So we're sharing data. All these systems are passing data to each other, so this rekeying is eliminated. So this makes the whole back office process very automatic and ideal. As your business grows, you don't have to have the stress of all this rekeying and work going on in the background. That things are very automated. So looking now at the actual screens of Datagate, we've designed the user interface to run on a browser. It's very much in the same sort of logical format as how ConnectWise Manage uses, for example, with agreements. Of course, Datagate integrates with ConnectWise agreements, and so we can reproduce those in Datagate, and we also replicate the customer accounts from ConnectWise Manage back to Datagate as well. The actual layout of the screens is very sort of Microsoft-y, I suppose, in a way. It's very much of the modern user interface format. So it means that that staff using Datagate generally pick it up very, very quickly. It's a very simple program to operate. And our design philosophy of Datagate is really to stay in our lane. So staying in our lane means that we don't try and duplicate or replicate what other partner products are doing. So we work with ConnectWise Manage. We're not trying to reinvent all the processes that ConnectWise do. We're not trying to reinvent what QuickBooks or Xero or our accounting software does. We process the telecom billing, and that's our specialty, and that makes it a very logical and clear and easy to follow system across all of your solutions. So across, we work tightly with ConnectWise Manage. We can also operate without ConnectWise Manage. We can go straight into QuickBooks if that's what our MSP prefers, or straight into Xero. We have those integrations as well. So really, stay in our lane means we keep things logical, and we stick to what we do best, which is the telecom billing with the telecom tax compliance side of it as well. So Datagate is designed especially for MSPs, and you can see that through the products that we integrate with. And working with Cognition 360 that we're seeing next, we've been looking into the data that we're seeing of how our MSPs are performing, and that's of course Cognition 360 specialty. And we saw some amazing stats recently where we looked at the all the MSPs that we're working with that have been with us for more than 12 months, and we saw that in particular the United States has got a very, very fast growth rate. So on average, all our MSPs were growing by 77.5%. So that's over the course of 12 months, and that's the average level of growth. And we actually took out the extreme cases, the extreme fast growers, and to make sure that it was a more realistic number, and that's sort of a typical growth rate. So this is a very successful area for MSPs to get into. It's very profitable, and Ken from Cognition 360 will be showing you more specifically how you can see that. So we have a special offer for anybody on this webinar. If you order Datagate this month of October, we'll give you 30% off the implementation cost. So that the implementation is typically between $1,000 and $2,000. So that's a significant amount of money. So we hope to talk to you soon about that. So so now I'd like to hand back to Greg to move on to the next part of our presentation. Thank you, Greg.
Hey, thanks, Mark. What I really like about Datagate is that it takes the hard parts of billing and addresses it in a way that is easy, it's intuitive, and it lets you spend more time focusing on your business and let the billing do its thing. It's already been done for you. We do the hard parts in the background, which is fantastic. At this point, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Ken Davis, the president of Cognition 360. What I really like about Ken's organization and the way he's built this, he is and has been an MSP. He's done what you guys do. He's been in the industry for 20 some odd years. And he knows the needs. He knows what you guys want to see. He's not a guy who took a tool and said, I'm going to modify it for you guys. He's from your business. He's you. And he goes, this is what I need. Let me build it to do it. And that's where it came from. So you're dealing with a guy who is one of you guys. So with that, Ken, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Greg, and hi, everyone. As Mark outlined, telecoms is a great revenue growth opportunity for MSPs, and we're certainly seeing that within our own customer base. And it's important that it's also profitable, of course. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And as Greg mentioned, I built my own MSP and was lucky to grow it to over 170 staff before selling it by trade sale about 2.5 years ago. And on that journey, I learned the importance of getting data you can trust and making fact-based decisions, and hence Cognition. And Cognition is a unique next-level analytics solution. We're using technology that wasn't available 2 and 3 years ago, and our customers are usually seeing an increase in profit and bottom line profit by 10 to 30% in the first year, and some much, much more than that. So we're going to show a live demo of Cognition, and we're going to focus on solving this problem for this demo. And this is how to get the visibility of true agreement profitability for our telecom agreements, and combining the cost of labor that's going against the agreements with the telecom costs. And the solution of course, is to apply the next level analytics, and this is where we're going to go now into the live demo. So hopefully you can see what we're showing here is this is a summary screen of the Telecom agreements. There's some voice as a service, a couple of offerings here. We're using Power BI as the presentation layer, and we're sitting over the top of a data warehouse. So this is a summary layer, but you'll see we'll be able to drill down. What we can do also is we've just selected the Telecom agreements here, but you can have all your agreements. Just choose what all the agreements that you'd like, but we're just focusing on the Telecom agreements here. We can, for example, just click on this type of agreement type, and it reveals all the customers. We see we've got 79 customers for that agreement type, and we've got some summary information in terms of what's being billed, what the margins are, effective rates, etc., for each of those customers. But let's go down to the next level, and going down now into more agreement and more detail on the agreements. And I'm just going to choose one agreement here, and this is click speed as the customer for this demo data. We can see that just going along that we're currently billing them $4,700 a month for this agreement. The billing period is just for the month of September, so it's the same amount was actually invoiced to the customer. We can see the costs, and then if I just right mouse click and drill through to these costs, we can see these are the costs that are coming through that Datagate has brought through into ConnectWise. So we can see the Telecom costs against that agreement, and we can also see how much labor that we're spending against this agreement. In this case, we're spending quite a bit of labor, and the actual labor cost depending on who's doing the work, so that we can see accurate profit, gross profit, and margin information. And one of the key things to see here is we have this concept of target hours, and this is can be set by your desired margin for this agreement type. And we have algorithms that take off the hard costs and calculate how many hours you would expect to spend to make the desired margin for this agreement. And what we can see down here is over the last few months, the blue line is the target hours and the green line is the actual hours. And early on, as we onboard the customer, we're burning more hours than what we would like, but that's not unexpected. But as we go on the journey, we like to see that the green line is below the blue line, and this is showing the last few months. And then this is another example of the data warehouse. ConnectWise itself will only store the current state of an agreement, where what we can see here is the trends. And we also, and that's important when we're making predictions, particularly about what resource requirements and so on are going to be required going into the future. And what we're seeing here is the last 8 weeks in terms of how many hours on a week-by-week basis that we're spending on the agreement. And what we can do is we have algorithms that surface up and that indicate when we're starting to burn more time on agreement than what we would like. And what we can do, of course, is we can just drill through and look at the ticket labor against those agreements. So we're looking at the month of September. These are automatically the top 5 tickets that are by what have we spent the most time on, who are the technicians that have been putting labor against this agreement. We've got a link here, so we've got ConnectWise open. We can click on the link, we'll pop the ticket open. We can reorganize it, so we can just look at this ticket here to see what was done, which are the technicians that worked on it. So the whole concept of what we're doing here is so that we can quickly identify, and we have, as I say, we have algorithms and dashboards that surface up when we're starting to burn more time on an agreement than what we would like, and then we can drill in to see what's happening, because if we can nip these in the bud, and we've certainly seen a lot of customers do this, we can see dramatic increases in profitability. Customers love it because we're showing proactivity in terms of identifying issues and lots of noise and support calls, so we can be proactive. But also we can reduce the time that we're spending on agreements, and we've certainly seen examples within our customers where they've increased, just by this one thing, increased agreement profitability by over 10%. And if you're doing $2 or $3 million a year in agreements, I mean, that can be an extra $200,000 or $300,000 on the bottom line. A couple of other ways to look at it is we can also look at the effective rates, and again here we're just looking at the telecom agreement so that we can look at the effective hourly rates that we're receiving for the amount of time and labor that we're spending. So these are the top customers, to quickly identify who those are, but also who are the ones at the bottom of the list, who are the ones that we're not making as much profit as we would like. And another way to look at something similar to this is the margin review. So here we're looking at each of the agreements for the voice as a service for this type of agreement type, and we're looking at the trends. It's color coded so that we can quickly identify which are the ones that are within our where we're making the margin. We can see the new customers when they started to come on board, and we can, of course, like we were doing before, we can go through and say, whoa, we lost money in August on this agreement. We can right mouse click and we can drill through and we can have a look to see what was going on in terms of what happened, in terms of what we were spending our time on within that month on that agreement. So we can identify what the trends are and what's affecting our profitability. So and that's getting a true view of agreement profitability is very important as we build the picture of customer profitability, and having true visibility into customer profitability can be a significant improvement to the business and a real game changer. So that finishes the live demonstration component of this presentation. And for webinar attendees, we're making this special offer. Everything I've shown you, you get free for 30 days, and then it's $100 per month if you wanted to continue, and it's just a month-to-month commitment. And of course, we're making this special offer because hopefully you'll see the power of this next generation data analytics and upgrade to the full Cognition, which is available from $299 per month. And again, just on a month-to-month commitment. And the full Cognition includes all these areas. And for example, we store the life cycle of every ticket. So we know what's happened with every ticket through every stage of its life. And this can be really helpful in identifying areas for efficiency and profit improvement. And also, because we've analyzed over 70 million time entries on ConnectWise tickets, we have a number of best practice metrics, and these can be very helpful in identifying which area makes sense to focus on for your business, because every business is different. So this new next level analytics can be a real game changer for MSPs. And I'd just like to thank you for your time, and I'll now hand back to Greg.
Thanks, Ken. What I listened to Ken is so fantastic. I heard a long time ago in our industry that we're drowning in information and starved for knowledge. I think it's so nice that Ken has a tool that gives you knowledge. It lets you know what's going on. Without this, it's kind of like driving a car and not having gauges on the dash. He gives you the gauges you need to do your job better. So fantastic product, Ken. really do appreciate it. The next speaker is, this is one of my favorite parts. You know, you guys have seen what Datagate can do to address your billing and make that simple and efficient and accurate and tax compliant. And of course, you know, Ken talks about, okay, you're running your company, let's run it right. We're doing all these wonderful things. You might have ConnectWise in there. You're using a really solid tax engine. So what you've built in the background is a really strong solution offering. Now it's important to let people see that you are that good, make you sound that good. The first impression people get is very important. And that's why I would love to introduce and enjoy introducing Donna Renee, because she can show you guys how to sound as good as you are. So Donna, it's all yours.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world today. Thank you for joining us. There is indeed one more step to telecom awesomeness, and that is to take advantage of the IVR opportunity that every phone system that you sell, including your own, because impressions are everything. Impressions are indeed everything. The seed that I want to plant with you today is to let the days be gone when the phone tech is voicing the greetings on cutover day. There just isn't any reason for that anymore. You know, they say that perception is reality, and it is. So I have a couple of audio examples that I want to let you listen to. Let me kind of tee this up for you real quick. I got an email from a client, and it said, Donna, call this number and listen. This is your next new client. It's the worst auto attendant greeting I've ever heard in my life. So I called the number and I listened and I went, oh, yeah, gosh, I'd love to help them. And so this is an abridged version of what I heard. It is going to be a little bit choppy because this was the real thing. This was what was really live. And I cut out all of the identifying pieces of information to protect the innocent, or in this case, the guilty. So this is the do-it-yourself. This is the phone tech on the phone of an OBGYN clinic. And that'll be.
Thank you for calling OBGYN, the office of Dr. Our office is located at 3400 Building C, Suite 475, Georgia, which is located at the north side in Building C. Our fax number is 7872. If this is an emergency, please hang up and call 911.
Okay, again, just to reiterate, that was so choppy because that was really live on the phone and I just took out those identifying information. Now this is the pro.
Thank you for calling OBGYN. If you're in labor or are from a doctor's office, press 0. For all other medical emergencies, hang up and dial 911. For all other callers, let's get you to the right person. To schedule an appointment, press 1. To refill a prescription, press 2. To speak to a nurse, press 3.
Okay, so I'm sure that you could not only hear the difference, but you could feel the difference, right? I want to tell you a couple of stories. I think that stories really hammer points home really well. Jim Lumpkin is the former CEO of U.S. Agencies Credit Union, but while he was still in that position, he got in contact with me and he said, Donna, I need you. I need your help. I called into my office today and I kid you not, I heard at least 5 different voices as I went through the phone tree to get to who I wanted to talk to. Literally, it made me feel like our left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. Can you help? Well, Jim, yes, I can. And so we did. And Bob Bascom from Charleston Telecom, another one of my clients, he called me and he said, Donna, I have to let you know, I got to say a big thank you. You got me a new client. I said, I did? Please do tell. Now listen to this example, guys, because this is so telling. This is amazing. So I did the, Bob got a new client. He hired me to do the auto attendant greetings, and I did, and that was that. Cutover day comes, he sets him up, he goes away. Well, the business that he had been in business a long time. They had a really large book of business. One of their clients called in after the new phones were set up, and they heard my voice on the auto attendant. They were blown away. They're like, oh my gosh, who did your phones? So they got Bob's contact information, called Bob from Charleston Telecom, and got on his service. And Bob is telling me this like with hindsight. So he goes, Donna, this is the backstory to this. The new client that I just got already had VoIP service. They already could do everything that I brought to the table. It was really an apples to apples comparison of VoIP service capabilities. The only difference is the phone tech voiced the auto attendant greetings on their phone, and they thought that my service must be better because it was a professional voice that I had. So, I mean, that's about as telling as you can get. So what I want you to think about here is the phone. It isn't just a communication device. It is, and it's part of your core competency. It's a customer contact point, and it's really the most overlooked customer contact point. You know, we as human beings, we are taking in data day in and day out, assimilating the data, sending it through our processor, through our brain, and we're making decisions. Those decisions, whatever we decide, its perception is reality. The experience that the callers have on the phone, whether it's your own phone or your client's phones, it's reality to them. This on the phone, it makes or breaks a brand image right here. So don't skimp. Do not ever let the auto attendant greetings take a back seat. If the client needs to save money, I understand that. We all do. But don't ever try to save money on a front-facing opportunity to make an impression, which is what the phone is. So who is Advantage IVR, and why in the world should you trust us? Well, we are a group of professional voice actors and actresses. I've been doing this for 20 years. I started this company 20 years ago, and it's been a great ride. I really appreciate all the relationships that I have going here. What we do is we make your business sound like your brand image. And we do the same thing for your clients. We make their phones sound like their brand image. Some of the major brands that you'll hear our work on is Maserati, Alfa Romeo, Volvo, MyPillow, ESPN, NASCAR, L'Oreal, and there's more, but we ran out of room with the logos at the bottom. But when you look at that list of companies, they're international brands. Their image is everything. If we were good enough for them, we're certainly good enough for you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is that every business, I don't care if you're big or small, needs to care about their brand image. We are professionals. We know what to say and we know how to say it. One of the things, that OBGYN example that we heard, we would have given them counsel. I would have highly recommended and done everything short of hog tying them to the floor and saying, don't do this. We would have counseled them. That greeting was 1 minute and 38 seconds long. At 58 seconds, he said, if this is an emergency or you're in labor, press 0. I'm like, you're kidding me. If you're a woman pregnant and you're trying to call your doctor, you better give that 0 out option, boom, at the get-go. And I would have said, most important of all, do not have a male voice on an auto attendant greeting at an OBGYN clinic. That just doesn't leave you with warm, fuzzy feelings. So we know best practices and we share them, and we know what not to do. And we always help with script writing because we know that that is a real time-consuming element, and it's easy for us to do almost in our sleep. We want the integration with Advantage IVR to be as simple as 1, 2, 3, literally just boom, done. So there's several different ways to engage with us, but one that I just kind of want to plant the seed with you is to just have this assumptive close. Add 3 greetings into every proposal. Sell them at $75 each. That's fair market value, $225. You know what that is for you? 150% ROI. Where are you to make that kind of return? That's pretty darn good. I even have a client that includes 5 greetings in every new account. It's a win-win all the way around. You win because you're making more money. You're winning too because you're a hero, because you are helping your client to maintain, either establish or maintain their brand image on the phone experience. Let's just drill down to look at the specifics of our offer. Voiceover as a service. I kind of want the one-size-fits-all auto attendant greeting to go away for the benefit of your clients, because it sounds, well, this is what it sounds like. You've heard the greetings where the same wording fits for if they're open and just can't answer the phone, they're too busy, or if they're closed, or a voicemail. It sounds like this. Thank you for calling ABC Company. We're either away from our desk or you've reached us after hours. Please leave a message at the tone. Now, if that auto attendant greeting were an operating system, it would be MS-DOS, and that is not okay in 2020. So we suggest a minimum of 3 greetings, an open greeting, an after-hours greeting, and a voicemail to include in all of your new installs. But if you order before midnight, get your Ginsu knives. No, it's not just for new installs. Take a look at your book of business, because which one of your clients don't deserve to have their brand image mirrored on the phone experience? We are a subscription service. We are $300 a month. It's an annual agreement. For that, you get up to 10 30-second files per month. If you need more than that, no problem. You just buy them additionally at $30 each. The cool part is you buy at $300 and you sell at $750. That is 150% ROI. Now, if the subscription, if you think you're not going to use that many, here's another way to look at this. Do a bulk buy, just like going to Costco. Get 100 greetings for $3,000 and you've got 2 years to use them. We think that's a pretty fair deal, and I don't think it should be hard for anybody to do that. We also include on-hold messages in that, and we do have a 30% off of our initial. I wish I would have seen Mark's slide first. I never would have called it a sign-up fee. We have 30% off our implementation. I love that. So it's only $350 if you sign up before November 1st. And thank you again for your time and your attention, and we would love to help you. Have a great day, everybody. Back to you, Greg.
Thanks, Donna. This is, again, one of my favorite parts. Again, you guys put all this money into making a product, getting it right, doing the best service for your clients. So when they call you, it needs to sound that way. We've all had the experience of calling somebody and it's like, who am I dealing with? Why is this so complex? And Donna makes it easy. She makes you guys sound extremely professional. She makes you sound as good as you are. And we think that's fantastic. Okay, well, I'll start off with, I've gotten some questions out here. And the first one is actually for Mark Lovies of Datagate. And it says here that you mentioned that the invoice goes into ConnectWise as a miscellaneous invoice. Does it tag the invoice with the agreement properly so that ConnectWise agreements properly maintained in the accounting system? So I think you can see the message there too, is Mark. So, Mark.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, so Datagate posts it into the invoices to ConnectWise as a miscellaneous invoice because that's the rules of ConnectWise. There is an ability to report back against the agreement if you're using Cognition 360. That's exactly what what Ken was showing us there. But in terms of the profitability, I mean, there is a the invoice does show under the account of the customer, and the agreement needs to be set up as a non-billable agreement inside ConnectWise Manage, so that to ensure that ConnectWise doesn't double bill it. But if you're wanting to see that full view of the profitability, then Cognition 360 is something you should have a look at. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. While we've got you, I have another question here. If somebody chooses to use Datagate in their company, how long does it take to get up and going?
Well, typically it's about 4 to 6 weeks, and that's really a process of collecting data from the MSP of how how it's going to be configured. Setting up the invoice format, setting up the integrations to the white label provider or the PBX, and also setting up integrations to ConnectWise and QuickBooks, and also some training as well. So it's a process to go through, typically 4 to 6 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, great. And while I've got you, I've got one more for you here. You mentioned earlier working with ConnectWise, and you mentioned you can also work without it. Can a company start off and not have ConnectWise implemented yet, get going with Datagate, and then add on ConnectWise? I guess it's a matter of somebody who's getting going and they're getting ConnectWise and Datagate. Do they have to do one before the other, or does it matter?
That's a very good question. And certainly you can start off integrating directly into QuickBooks. To start with, QuickBooks Online is our preferred version. It's got the much better integration with APIs, and then you can switch over to ConnectWise Manage as the primary integration. ConnectWise Manage will then obviously synchronize with QuickBooks as well. So we're quite flexible in that regard. So we do like ConnectWise Manage, but we can certainly work directly with QuickBooks as well. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. A couple of questions here for Donna. Can
Yes.
they do on-hold messages as well
Oh.
as auto attendant messages?
Yes, absolutely. As part of the subscription service, this is so cool. Each file is 30 seconds. You get 10 30-second files. The on hold, you just use them as a file. So it just ticks off. You get 10 in a month, and you could use up all 10 easily just doing an auto attendant and an on hold for somebody.
Okay. I noticed here that your greeting is 30 seconds. Can you make them longer than 30 seconds? Maybe they have a bit more to say.
Yes, but please don't make it 1:38. No. But yet, no, absolutely. Some greetings are longer. Say it's 47 seconds. It just counts as 2. You get the 10. It just counts as 2. We go in 30-second increments.
Okay, great. That sounds good.
Thank you.
I have a question here for our good friend Ken Davis. And the question is regarding quantifying the profitability improvements when you're using tools like Datagate's Insights reports. I mean, how do you really quantify that that's really helping the client?
Hey, thanks, Greg. And first thing I'd say is the starting point, as I was showing, was to look at the various telecom agreement types, because there's obviously a number of different agreement types, and it really depends on how you're structuring your agreement type. So we have industry best practice analytics around which is the ideal margin for the different types of agreements, whether if it's a voice as a service, etc. So the first starting point is to identify, if you're already at industry best practice for gross profit margin on a particular agreement type, then you're doing well. And there may be some incremental improvements there, but typically what we see is that there are agreement types where profitability is below industry best practice, and that's where analytics can really play a great value in terms of analyzing what's happening, why are you below industry best practice, and more importantly, what are the levers you can pull, what are the changes you can make to bring your profitability in that area up to industry best practice. And typically we're seeing, as I was saying earlier, that a 10% increase in agreement profitability is very achievable, and we're seeing that in many cases. And Greg?
Thanks. If a client or an MSP were to bring on Cognition right now, how long before they're really starting to get value out of it and use it as a tool to manage their company better?
I think right out of the box, what we've shown in terms of with combining the Datagate data, they would see what we showed today working right out of the box. So you get full visibility in terms of all your telecom agreements, and starting to surface up when you're starting to burn more time against the agreements and what's affecting profitability. So that works right out of the box. So that would be benefits in terms of the agreement side. If you were to upgrade to the full Cognition, it will really depend on which is the area that makes sense to focus on. And I've got a number of examples of areas where we've seen dramatic improvements in business performance, which I can go into if you like, Greg.
Yeah, I think it's great. I would imagine sometimes when they get this going, I'm not sure if they're encouraged or scared by what they've been doing in the past, but you got to have the knowledge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's all about getting the visibility in terms of having data you can trust so that you can make fact-based decisions. And we've seen a number of have a lot of experience in terms of just by surfacing up data you can trust, it can change behavior within your team very, very quickly, and it's almost gamifying what's happening, and we can see some dramatic increases in behavior and improvement in the business. And One example of that would be time entry quality. There's a lot of evidence that says if time is being entered hours, days, a week later, it's not as accurate as if it was entered quickly. And we have algorithms that score the timeliness of every time entry, so that and we almost gamify it, and so that we've seen dramatic increases in the timeliness of time recording and an increase in billing. One customer, for example, just over a team of 8 techs. It was mainly focused on projects. Our industry best practice for timeliness is a 90% score. They are at 60%. Within 2 months, they increased, just by sharing it with their team and gamifying it, they increased their score from 60% to 80%. But more importantly, that resulted in about an extra 120 hours per month of invoiceable time. And that added over 200,000 to their bottom line, and they achieved that within the first 2 months.
Pretty soon you're talking real money here. I've got another question for you. What are the key differences between the $100 and the full Cognition package?
We showed that slide. So the $100 package is showing what I demonstrated, which is agreement profitability for the telecom agreements. So we're focusing on that, and it includes everything that I showed in terms of the algorithms that calculate and surface up when you're starting to burn more time, the full visibility across the last 12 months, so you can see trends, etc. The full Cognition includes all the other areas that we talked about. So that was a lot of analytics, if you like, in terms of the tickets, full agreement, so you can include your other agreement in the agreement profitability and have the same functionality that I showed today. Projects, customer profitability is a very important area. And we surface it all up to an executive dashboard so that you can monitor how the business is going and then drill down into the various areas. So there's quite a few extra views in the full upgrade.
Hey, great. I have another question for Mark Lovies. Can Datagate rate and bill long distance charges?
Well, thanks, Greg. Yes, absolutely. So you've got a number of different methods you can use. You can have your own rate card, so you can set up all the different geographies with their own particular price per minute plan. You can also work off the pricing of your provider. So often the call detail records will have the price of the call on it. And so Datagate will enable you to put whatever formula you want. For example, you may just want to double the price, or you may want to apply a margin to the cost price of the call. So that's probably the most popular method because it requires the least amount of maintenance, because it's and guarantees you'll always make a certain margin. So yes, certainly we can handle international call rating, long distance call rating, 1-800 toll-free rating as well. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. I have a question for Donna. And the question is, if you don't use all of your recordings in a month, do they go away or carry forward to the next month?
They can stay on the books for a year, for 1 year.
Oh, okay. Great. Sounds good. Yeah. I don't see any more questions out here, so let's go to the last screen, if you would, Usman. And we have our contact information. I think the poll will show up again, but we would like to thank everybody for taking time out today. I know an hour of your time is valuable, and we do appreciate it, and everybody stayed on, which is great. We hope we provided you a lot of value. We will be posting this out on YouTube later on, and you'll be getting a link to it so you can share this with your teams back at your own office. And all of the participants here, the panelists, would be glad to follow up with you. I'm sure you guys have more questions, and they've definitely got great answers. They've got great products, and it provides for a solid solution across the board. So we've got about 5 minutes to the top of the hour, and thanks everybody for attending. If any of the panelists would like to give a final comment, we're looking forward to having you guys as customers some days.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate your time and look forward to talking with you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. It'll be out to you in a short while when we get that all out there. And we do hope you share it with your teams. That's why we recorded it today. There's our contact information. And feel free to reach out to any of the companies there and be glad to spend some personal time with you going over it. Good package of solutions. Do the right work and sound like you're doing the right work. I think it's a great combination all the way around. So
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. And thanks to the panelists. Great job today, folks.